Hi everyone, Greg Sullivan, J City, C5 Japan here. How are you? This is Superlogical. We're back with another special guest, Marian Seren, channeler, psychic medium, intuitive artist, ET contactee, experiencer, and whistleblogger. She has a lot of amazing stories to tell and is really getting into the gray hybrid agenda. I really felt a strong connection to her work, and just seeing her on SNS talking about some really key issues regarding gray type beings and the kind of stereotypical contact we've been really programmed and biased with over the years. Getting into the deeper layers of this, this really jives with a lot of our experience working personally one-on-one with contactees and experiencers in Japan, and is going to be really important to really clean up the UFO contact community and really start to see the agendas, the who's who in the universe, so to speak. But we're happy to have Marina here today with us on Superlogical. Hi, Marina. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me, Greg.
Yeah, cheers. It's great to talk with you, and I'm so excited because the younger generation has the most fresh information. I think the most advanced DNA in all of the starseed community. Thank you for playing your role on Earth here at this time and covering some very advanced issues. How are you doing in 2022?
Well, I'm doing great. Generally. Because I'm really excited for all the projects that I have ahead of me that I'm planning to put out in the public. So I'm really excited, I will say, this year.
Great. Yeah, it's I feel like it's been easier for people to express themselves, and so many more people are becoming awake and aware. Your message is going to be serve so many people in the years to come. You've had quite a lot of experience over the years. Let's talk about what you're doing now. What kind of work do you offer for the spiritual, starseed community? Or you mentioned you do readings and channelings. Have you noticed any changes over the years in your skill or your new abilities coming online?
Yes, I was born a psychic medium and a natural channel. This means that conscious channeling means that you do not need to get in trance in order to channel information. So when I started my awakening, I had certain intuitive abilities when it comes to reading auras from people. And I started reading people's energy and origins and connections and auras. And I started to also channel the structure of existence, the dynamics of consciousness, and I ended up becoming that kind of spiritual worker.
That's amazing. Yeah. How about with the clients? Have you seen any change over the years with the clients? Like, through the clients, we learn a lot of things about the current situation or what's going to come in the future horizon. What's been coming up in the readings lately?
I'm seeing that disclosure is on the rise on ET contact, but I'm also seeing events in which we're having contact with the inner Earth people.
Wow, yeah, I just was thinking about that last night. We had an event in northern Japan, contact event, 2 nights, and just last night I was remembering how in our first meditation, the ground was shaking in a pulse. It was almost scary because you could feel the vibration. We were on the ocean, so it was under the land and under, covering a large area under the ocean. So I remembered the inner Earth beings, and I also saw the word elf a few times. So,
oh, really? Me too.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It was on a car or just, sometimes.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. I think they were connecting us too.
Yes.
Yeah, so I saw it twice. Sometimes the words are amazing. You're at an angle, and it says E-L, and there's some other letter, but you can't see it, and then the F is there or something,
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's easy to forget the inner Earth realms and Gaia. It's such we are so conditioned to look out to connect with space. But there's so much history and potential for inner Earth support and contact as well with those realms, those beings. Wow, that's amazing.
Agreed.
And you have a fairy kind of energy to yourself. How
I
about
do have connections with fairies. That's correct.
Yes, yeah, I can see that. How about with the I noticed you mentioned with the star seed, there's it's been a very I think there's a lot of a lot of really great information out there with different ascension researchers or new activists. How do you feel the old UFO community can benefit from this newer ascension information?
I think that we're all one way or another getting in the same page. I mean, not exactly in the same page in terms of belief systems, because we are all different and we get to create our own reality individually. But I think that we're all getting in the same page in terms of how consciousness works and what is this like world of ufology about, what it is, why is it given to us. And so it's mainly to explore more aspects of our existence, because all of those ETs are within our genetic blueprint. So it's a great opportunity.
I grew up watching the famous UFO shows, and all the information was very often quite negative with the X-Files and abductions or implants, and very, very biased towards the gray agenda. So when when my psychic awareness awakened and I had much more direct contact myself, I realized that the entire 80s and 90s UFO information was so dominated by the gray energy, coming through the TV shows, coming through these books, coming through these lectures and events. And it's a very restrictive and heavy energy, also very overbearing, controlling, very sneaky.
Yes, it's true. They also had a fear factor to it. They had this component of, mystery, but also fear. So I agree, at the beginning it was a little bit like scary, I will say.
Yeah, and then oftentimes they're pushing their agenda. They're like of all the different types of contact, they want to insert themselves to be the first thing, make us think that they're the only group to deal with. They're the only extraterrestrials out there.
Yeah.
How does that resonate with your experience? Personally.
100%. They are trying to win people's heart in order to insert their agenda-based, plans. And, it's true what you said, like about that they're trying to make people believe that they're the only kind of ETs, out there. Because, when I will say that I'm a hybrid, people will say, oh, so you're a gray hybrid, you're part of this agenda. And I will say, no, I'm a hybrid with ET DNA generally. But they are not the only kinds of hybrids or ETs that are out there. So they're becoming a little bit tyrannical and too imposing their genetics on our planet way too much.
Yes, yeah, and of course, yes, I agree. So yeah, the starseed hybrid starseed could be, a bit of Arcturus, a bit of Pleiadian, a bit of Orion. So it could be a mix of many different galactic groups, right?
Agreed.
And I also find that that for some reason the people who do have a gray attachment or connection, they're trying to work through these older timelines, or it seems to at times it seems to block their connection to other groups. You seem very lucky to have realized that, because many starseeds I deal with in sessions and who I meet in Japan. I can sense that control as well, and they haven't had a lot. Those grays oftentimes they try and stop spiritual awakening. It seems like as well. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's true. They try to stop spiritual awakening, and they also want the other ones want to control it. So there are two kinds of gray intervention. The ones that are posing as good people, and then imposing their agendas, and the ones who are obviously negative in the outside and the inside. So both of them.
We have to just realize this is the hidden nature of human history, right? The hidden human history, and and that's a part of our journey. And we have it's a very hard thing to deal with, to realize that, you know, it's amazing to know that we're not alone in the universe, but it's also difficult to fathom that we're stuck in between these different agendas. You know, have you? How about astral implants? A lot of one thing I realized was that the implants and the different control, that happens, actually occurs on the non-physical level. Have you ever, in your psychic vision, have you ever seen these astral weapons or astral implants?
Yes, unfortunately, I deal with symptoms of an implant, of a brain implant, and I observed how they put it on me, like way in the past, in some dreams and some experiences that I had of contact. And unfortunately, my hope is that by doing a brain scan, I will be able to see it and extract it. But I did have a brain scan and I saw nothing. So the doctors said they saw nothing. Maybe it's too little to be detected or appreciated,
Yeah.
in the scan. But I suspect then that it might be etheric.
Yes, yeah, they're right. Yeah, yeah. That's a whole. That was a huge realization for me to see that, the human body has all these energy levels, and that's where a lot of the control can come into. And the other groups help us remove
100%.
that. The other groups have technology to remove that or reset the problem as well.
Yes.
How have you ever experienced what kind of healing or what kind of positive contact have you? How did that start for you in this lifetime?
Um, for me, the most positive contact I've ever had is from one group of beings that are called Anunnaki, but they're not the negative kind of Anunnaki. They're the positive ones. They're humanoid ones. They are blue skinned and they resemble the gods of the Indian culture, and also, but they are mostly Druidic. They have when I saw them for the first time, they were wearing these Druidic, let's say, robes, and they were teaching me about Celtic culture. And they told me that the reason why they were in contact with me is because I had an ancestry that was connected to the Celts.
Hmm.
So they were teaching me this kind of knowledge, and I became really close to them because I learned that they are my star family and my ancestors. So um, they actually also helped me in surviving great attacks.
Wow.
So they are amazing.
Yes, I had an experience with one being, and yeah, they use a golden energy too. It's amazing support, and they have a role because they're sometimes in a way closer to humanity than some other ET galactic groups as well. Uh, is
I
that
agree.
Do you think all Anunnaki are from Nibiru?
No, that's not true. That's 100% inaccurate theories or hypotheses. Um, that's some specific reptilian humanoid Anunnakis groups, but many of them Anunnakis are like a group of many different species, all together. So there are some of them who are part of the Nibiru, ship or planet
Ship,
mothership,
yeah.
but not all of them come from there.
Yeah, they I know they have a
Maybe
very
that sounds.
in my I can see they have a very their control system they created on Earth, like the money they created, the monetary system, and these and many and negative Anunnaki souls here seem to have, they're always on top of the game. They're always business successful in business, and they're like to hoarding,
Yes.
very greedy, and and they seem to know the game. They're pro experts at the Earth, the material game, right?
100%.
And that's great. Yeah. So we have to reset all of our groups that we heard may have been neutral or benevolent, maybe were not so, and groups that we always heard were negative and totally evil have a different history or different branches, different groups. So as we make more contact, these ancient histories will become more apparent. Just a different question. In Spain, there's the Compostela. I know, and and how do you connect with the Mary lineage, Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene, and the different power spots around Spain? Are they?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, because I was told that I'm part of the Mary. I'm not sure if it's the Virgin Mary or Mary Magdalene's lineage, but I'm part of that lineage. So it's really interesting, because many people is like this spiritual lineage, not physical lineage. And it's really interesting because I do have connection to many Marias.
Okay.
Yes, they represent this really beautiful, divine motherly energy. So I really like it.
Yeah. And your name is close, Marina. You're close to
Yes,
Maria, right? And how about
some people call me Maria?
Oh, they do. Okay, well. And in Spain, in Japan, we travel to different locations to make a ET contact because of a certain ley line element, or we're guided there to do some clearing or something. What about in Spain? Have you done any retreats, or are you called to work with the grid anywhere out in Spain itself or Europe?
I know a person in Spain who works with who practice a metaphysical science called radiesthesia. I don't know the exact translation in English, but it's about working with the telluric lines of the Earth.
Oh wow, yeah, nice, yeah. That's quite of a rare word. The telluric lines. That means like the system between. Those are the energy lines that in the daytime energy is moving down from north to south, and I think in the nighttime moving back south to north. Is that right?
Yeah, they are the magnetic lines, let's say, of the magnetic field of the Earth. So yes, I've been working with those lines in Spain, but I mostly do it naturally, through meditation and psychic work, rather than using the instrument that I used to work with my friend, which is really metal bars that concise electromagnetic spectrums. I have them and I sometimes use it, but I prefer to do psychic work.
That's great. Interesting. What's the name of that science again?
Radiesthesia.
Oh yeah. Please put that in the chat later. I'll look it up. Yeah, that's great. Wow. And so
Okay.
when you do have a download, or I'm interested in people's different unique psychic abilities. Like a channeling message, or you mentioned conscious channeling. How do you when you meditate, is it like a short time or for many hours? And how do you get your information? How does the information come to you? Like in visual scenes, or is it more of a verbal message? How is that for you, Marina?
Well, for me, when I meditate, it's not like the typical New Age practices that involves taking the traditional elements, like saying is a really good practice, because it's this vibration that tunes into this human resonance, and it tunes into your kundalini and your third eye, etc. But I prefer to just lay down in my bed and I just start to stimulate my third eye naturally by just being in the darkness and thinking inwards, about your inner life is the natural kind of meditation that everybody does, in this planet. So I think that's what I do, and I think it's the most appropriate for me now.
Great, and thank you. Yeah, And when you meditate like that, how does the information come for your guides, or do you call on a certain being, or do you have stages? Like, some beings are with you for 1 month, and then are they coming in and out with different information? How does that work for you?
Well, I usually ask questions, and then I start to feel energy, like answers coming to me. And that's because when you have a question, you actually have the answer to. Because in the universe, information cannot be separated. Like, information is always information. That kind of duality of answer and question is just a human perception. It's like an illusion. So when I have a question, I start to receive information like psychically, and I know that it's either from my guides or from my ET contacts or from my higher mind.
Right. Nice. Yeah, very well explained. What have been some, not to get too personal, but what kind of questions are you asking? Is it for a client or something personal, or is it more of the global, the current state of ascension and stuff like that? What have been some interesting revelations lately in the since Corona pandemic?
Well, I usually ask for information about the structure of existence. So it's more like metaphysical questions rather than current situations and stuff like that. But I can also answer. I also sometimes answer. Make those kind of questions.
Yeah. It's when you say the structure of existence, is the structure changing as we shift frequency in your mind, or are we
Yes,
are we entering a different? Go ahead.
The structure of existence does not really change, but the perspective of it changes. That's the thing that changes. So we are changing that, of course, but for the positive, we are reintegrating information about it.
Yes, and so what have you seen? Like, where we're able to choose our timeline these days, and the ability to co-create our reality is really turning on. So I often am guided to really not focus on the noise of the world and all these distractions, but to really try and every day create the highest reality or forward my mission for the mission of our community and everything. So how have you been dealing with that lately for yourself, switching from a passive role to a more active role consciously?
I usually do an active role when it comes to psychic work. So whenever that I feel that something is affecting humanity, like collectively, I usually just get guidance on what is the things that I need to again do or explore psychically. And they just assist me in the process, and I start to meditate on it and do my inner work. Because again, the inner work is the exact same as work for others, because the external is just a projection of your consciousness. So
right, yeah, nice, yes. And when you have a client come, if you're doing a reading or something, and you see some sort of interference or trouble in their past, how do you help to solve that or guide them to a higher contact, higher support?
Well, I read blockages, so I usually quantum entanglements with negative energies, and so I usually explain to them what kind of karmic cycle of energy they are exploring in the moment, and what kind of energetic blockages they have in terms of belief systems. So when I detect them, I just say it to them, and I start to give them also downloads from my higher mind on the specific guidance to follow on how to overcome that challenge and how to let go of those frequency vibrational patterns within their auric field.
Amazing. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, thank you. So how about with the current in the news, we've had the UFO rebranding as the UAP, and the American Congress had a hearing recently. How do you see the the governmental disclosure these days? You mentioned the secret space program, and are you ever do you have memories of the super soldier experience, or how do you feel that's moving these days? Is that just fading out, just becoming less and less an issue?
Um, well, in my experience as a super soldier, I experienced something also called MK Ultra, which was one of my worst experiences in my awakening ever. And it took me about 5 years to heal it completely. I started doing that kind of shadow work at 16.
Yeah.
And so I'm observing that, of course, I shifted to a more positive timeline in which that is not affecting me that much negatively. So fortunately, I'm seeing that things are accelerating for the collective and for me in my personal reality. So I'm seeing that change reflected in the outside again. And what I believe, the only thing is that what I believe that is going on right now is that the certain governments are trying to rush up on disclosure because they know that is something that it's going to happen one way or another, but they want to rush up because they want to gain control over disclosure.
Yes, yes, yeah. And are they, there's so many agendas at play there. By the way, was the MK Ultra and all that, was this experience in a parallel timeline, or how was your family? Are they aware of this as well? Or was there a missing time issues, or how was that a parallel timeline, or something in the astral realm, or in this is physical reality?
It's physical reality, but well, there's a misunderstanding when people say parallel timeline. It seems like it's a parallel reality because it's happening parallelly, like simultaneously, because technically they time travel. So they messed up the timeline. That's the problem. But technically it's happening simultaneously. It's not on another reality. It's here and now. So in a sense, for example, in my case, as I haven't yet finished my work up there, because 20 years have not passed yet, there is a version of me who is actually there working. So what I do here affects the person there, and the other way around too.
Is that have they? Would you call that a clone or a future self?
No, it's a parallel self.
Wow, yeah. And is that person the same age or more older now?
Yes, the same age.
Wow. Okay. Well, and do you have you have the more conscious communication with them, or are they able to access your timeline, your reality?
There is a positive space program, so I am in contact currently with the positive ones.
That's great. Wow. Yeah. I was connected with a person who came to our project, and they mentioned a lot of these things they were catching, by visions, and they mentioned some people who were involved with that. So it's very hard to believe at first, but then some very strange things happen, and lots of UFO sightings, and it was amazing. Like so I was shown that quite early on too myself. And
right.
So what about let's say I'm trying to. You cover a lot in a short time here. What about the like the messages of distraction with in the UFO spiritual community? There's always some theme that's out there for a few years. And what do you have as a warning, or how to discern the different types of information? People are waking up, but they don't have any discernment yet. What would you recommend for people how to connect to the highest, guidance, highest contact?
I would suggest them to connect with beings type 1, which is the kind of beings that are not agenda based. So they don't mind whatever way you go. They will just guide you through the heart space. They care about you, but not in a way that they want to take advantage of you. So the kind of guidance that they will give you is not agenda based. It's, based on heart and love,
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. I agree. I agree. I also popped in here. The ascension science is still quite rare. How do you when you're in Europe and Spain? Do people misunderstand you as a like a regular New Age person? Or sometimes the modalities can seem very similar, but the information is very different. How have you been received by the local community, the spiritual community? Or are you
Um,
are you a loner? Are you a solo soldier?
no, I did receive I mean, I was received positively at the beginning of my spiritual awakening. Because I came with a lot of love, for the earth and people. So I guess I get that back. It's true that in some cases I got like hate, and I still receive some people being hateful, but that's not my responsibility. I mean, it's their responsibility to deal with their own hatred and negative beliefs issues and you know. But I was welcome,
That's great.
by
Yeah. That's great. I mean to say, as you know, the cosmology is so much greater, and the cosmology of ET contact and ascension is so much larger than um, the New Age world. So I got the term from my guides to call ET spi. In Japanese, the short nickname for spiritual is spi, and so ET spi is one of our other projects. Yeah, I find that sometimes it's the standard spiritual community is unable to recognize the benefit of the ET. The ET issue is still very foreign for them, and they have not integrated that at all.
I
So
agree.
yeah, it's hard to sometimes put that across. Because there's the UFO community and then the spiritual community, and we've been halfway between. We've been connecting the two for a long time here, but luckily that's getting
Yes,
easier to do.
yes. I agree, and I believe that the UIP community is too much about data. They just work with UFO sightings. So, for instance, if you say, "Oh, I had a symbolic dream or astral encounter in which I see these people," they usually just don't care. But if you see a UFO and you record it, they take a lot of importance in that. Whilst the spiritual community goes the other way around, like if you had like spiritual symbolism or like meaning to your encounters, they're going to give it much more value, and the UAP is not going to, even care. So yes, it's good that we are finally making the connection between the two worlds, because ET contact is a spiritual phenomenon, and the spiritual phenomenon includes ETs because we are not alone. They are aspects of ourselves. So
I like that. I like that. Yes, it's also like the left brain and right brain of one. The one is very logical and one is very subjective. So we need to combine and integrate the two.
I agree.
Yeah, well, it's getting there slowly but surely. Yeah. Well, thank you. I think we covered a lot. Do you have anything to close with? This will be a part one of our a couple of interviews. I think I'd love to talk to you more and take some questions from maybe viewers in Japan. But how do you feel about? Are you hopeful for the future this year? We're coming up on some more. The whole pandemic narrative is falling apart, and the story is getting so ridiculous. All the distractions and noise in the physical world. Are you hopeful for the future this year, or from here
Yes,
on
I
out?
am. I believe that a lot of people that are corrupted, tyrannical, etc., will just. I think that everything will come up to the surface because everything fires back. Because what you put out, you get back. So I believe we're definitely going to move forward in this.
That's great. I'm excited. Yes, excellent. Well, thanks for your time today, and let's talk again soon. Working
Sure.
too.
Thank you for inviting me.
Cheers. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Marian Seren and on Superlogical today. It was Jay Seti and Greg Sullivan signing out. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye bye.